As humans, our partners are usually people we trust to be our confidant and dearest friend. With a partner, we're free to be ourselves and express our emotions. The bond and companionship shared with a partner is usually different from any kind of bond we make as humans. Sadly, in the case of Kellyanne Bates, her partner turned out to be a monster in human skin and the very worst of men. Welcome to this channel. Today we're going to take a look at the shocking true crime story of Kellyanne Bates. Before we continue, make sure you like, share and subscribe to our channel to get notified about our latest videos. So sit back and join us as we explore the bone-chilling story of Kellyanne Bates. 17-year-old Kellyanne Bates was drowned in a bathtub on April 16, 1996, after being tortured over a period of 4 weeks. Kellyanne Bates was born on May 18, 1978, in Hattersley, a small town in Greater Manchester, England, to Tommy and Margaret Bates. Growing into her teenage years, Kelly was independent, confident, kind, mature, and thoughtful. She also had a great relationship with her parents. But the relationship between Kelly and her parents began to dwindle when Kelly started dating a boy named Dave Smith in 1992. Dave was an outgoing type of guy, and Kelly quickly fell madly in love with him. They soon began a relationship, with Kelly hiding most of the details of her relationship with Dave from her parents for over 2 years. When she finally told her parents about her relationship with Dave, they assumed that he was probably just a boy from school. Soon after, Kelly began sneaking out from home at night. Sometimes she would stay away from home for days at a time. The major reason Kelly had kept her relationship with Dave hidden was the fact that Dave was not a boy from school, as her parents probably thought. Dave was a 32-year-old man who began grooming Kelly while she was 14 years old, having met her while she was babysitting for some friends. Not long after they started dating, Dave began to show some obsessive traits, as he would call Kelly's home, constantly trying to know her whereabouts. About 2 years after leaving school, Kelly moved in with Dave at his home in the Gorton area of Manchester. Kelly's mother met Dave for the first time after Kelly had moved in with him. Although Dave was a non-smoker and a teetotaler, with most of his acquaintances describing him as well-groomed and house-proud, Margaret said that upon meeting him, the hairs on the back of her neck stood up. "I tried everything I could to get Kellyanne away from him," she later claimed. Kelly's relationship with Dave waxed and waned over the next several months. While she spent most of her time with Dave, Kelly would often return home covered in deep bite marks and thick black bruises. Her parents were worried and constantly begged her to end her relationship with Dave. As time went on, Kelly became more withdrawn, and this is what perhaps led to her quitting her part-time job in December 1995. The longer the relationship progressed, the less people got to see Kelly. When Kelly's brother paid a visit to Dave to see his sister, Dave told him that she was not at home. When a concerned neighbor inquired about Kelly, Dave briefly showed Kelly through an upstairs window for the neighbor to see. These situations kept Tommy and Margaret in fear for the life of their daughter, but no matter how many times they begged, there was still no change forthcoming. The only way Kelly's parents and friends knew she was alive was through cards sent to them. But this was not enough to set their minds at ease, as all the birthday and anniversary cards sent were written by Dave. On April 16, 1996, Dave visited the police station and calmly reported to the authorities that he had accidentally killed Kelly during an argument in a bathtub. He claimed that Kelly had inhaled water and died despite his best efforts to resuscitate her. He also claimed that Kelly would often pretend to be unconscious. Police officers were quickly sent to the address where they found the lifeless body of Kellyanne Bates naked in a bathroom. Her blood was also found throughout the house, quickly making it clear that this was no bathtub accident. Little did they know that what truly happened to Kellyanne Bates was far darker than they could have imagined. Kelly's body was almost unrecognizable as a result of the torture she went through before her violent death. The detective who headed the murder inquiry, Detective Sergeant Joseph Monaghan, stated that this case was the most horrific case he had seen in his entire career. Her post-mortem examination revealed over 150 separate injuries on her body. During the last month of her life, she had been kept bound, sometimes tied to a radiator or furniture by her hair, or by her neck by way of a ligature. During the post-mortem examination, it was discovered that Kelly had injuries and burns on her thigh caused by the application of hot iron, a fractured arm, partial scalping wounds, multiple stab wounds caused by forks, scissors, and knives, crush injuries to both hands, mutilated ears, nose, eyebrows, mouth, lips, and genitalia. Both of her eyes were gouged out, and her empty eye sockets were later stabbed, with all these gruesome acts occurring while she was still alive. William Lawler, the pathologist who examined Kelly's body, determined that her eyes had been removed not less than 5 days and not more than 3 weeks before her death. Kelly was starved and had not taken water for several days before her death, losing about 20 kilograms in weight. At Manchester Crown Court on November 12, 1997, the family of Kelly Ann Bates discovered that Dave Smith, the man who tortured and killed Kelly, had been using an alias all along. The real name of this twisted murderer was James Patterson Smith. James, who was actually 45 at the time he met Kelly, was a divorcee with a history of domestic violence. His first marriage was terminated in 1980 after consistently beating his wife daily. Between 1980 and 1982, just after the end of his marriage, he began an affair with 20-year-old Tina Watson. It did not take long for James to fall back into his old habits. He would smack an ashtray in her face or over her head, kick her between the legs, and even beat her while she was pregnant with his child. James also attempted to drown her in the bath. Fortunately, Watson managed to escape from the relationship. After Tina Watson escaped his clutches, he began a relationship with 15-year-old Wendy Mottershead, whom he also violently assaulted and tried to drown. During the trial, Smith denied murdering Kelly, claiming that she taunted him about his dead mother. Kelly had a bad habit of hurting herself to make it look worse on me, he claimed. He also tried to convince the jury that Kelly had challenged him to torture her. A consultant psychiatrist, Gillian Mazie, told the court that he believed that James had a severe paranoid disorder with morbid jealousy and lived in a distorted reality. The prosecutor in James's trial, Peter Openshaw, said, "It was as if he deliberately disfigured her, causing her the utmost pain, distress, and degradation. The injuries were not the results of one sudden eruption of violence. They must have been caused over a long period and were so extensive and terrible that the defendant must have deliberately and systematically tortured the girl." The court offered professional counseling to every member of the jury who needed help dealing with the distress of seeing the photographs of Kelly's injuries and the sickening violence of the case. This offer was accepted by every single member of the jury, which just goes to show the extent of James's brutal and evil act. It took jurors 1 hour to convict James Patterson Smith of the murder of Kelly Ann Bates. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, with the judge, Mr. Justice Sachs, recommending that James serve a minimum of 20 years term. In his statement, the judge said, "This has been a terrible case, a catalogue of depravity by one human being on another. You are a highly dangerous person. You're an abuser of a woman, and I intend, so far as it is in my power, that you will abuse no more." Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.